Hey, we're live. We're live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today my guest is the Buffalo Picker. What's going on, man? How you doing today,
Hey,
bro?
what's happening, man? Glad to be here.
Hey, man, I'm glad to have you on today, man. So go ahead and introduce yourself in case people don't know who you are, bro.
All right, I am Buffalo Picker. I've been a part-time reseller for 3 years. I work for the federal government as a full-time employee, and I'm also retired military. Glad to be here tonight.
Right. Well, thank you for your service, bro. I just want to catch some people in the chat. We have some people in the chat waiting for you. Emily came today. She says, I'm here early. I love Buffalo Picker and the energy that he brings.
Right.
And we got
Appreciate you,
Wendy.
Emily.
Yeah, we got Wendy hanging out with us. We got Kentucky fan, and we got American made, and then I got bearded veteran. So that's who we got in the chat today.
All right.
So talk to me a little bit, Buffalo, man. How things been going for you this year, man? How has your sales been? Because you sell on both eBay and Amazon, right?
Right. My sales have been pretty good for Amazon, but I'm still working on my eBay, trying to get my eBay up. Right now, I'm at 40 items. Well, no, I take that back. Well, yeah, 40 items a day is what I'm doing for eBay with the help of my son. But on Amazon, I mean, I might double what I made last year on Amazon this year if I keep the pace.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, my buddy Rise and Grind Picker, he recommended you. He said Buffalo Picker's that guy. He's like, you gotta talk to him. We actually got Rise and Grind Picker going to be on the show tomorrow,
Hey.
and he was saying, yeah, he said Buffalo Picker's that guy, man. He's been out there killing it. As far as Amazon goes, he said he's got it. You got it on lockdown, man.
Game from
Yeah, you've been working on it for a minute.
I learned the game from him. I give Rise and Grind, I give him his credit, man. I learned a lot watching his videos when I was on the fence trying to determine where I was going to get started in resale. I learned a lot from him.
Okay, cool. So talk a little bit about on my show. We're going to hit the rewind button for a minute. We're going to go ahead and talk about your backstory. So before you became a reseller, you was in the military, right? You think you said you was in the Army, right? Was that was that where it was? Yes. So talk a little bit about your backstory on your life before you became a reseller, and talk a little bit about that. Let's roll.
Well, I mean, basically, I served in the military for 20 years. I went to 2 wars and 1 conflict. I was my last tour of duty was in Iraq. I got shipped over there 7 times in 5 years, which I just figured enough was enough. So I went on and retired from the military and ended up getting a contracting position with the government as a contractor overseas, working at a country called Qatar. Some people call it Qatar. I was actually a physical security specialist there, where I ran the security of the base, taking care of vulnerability assessments and stuff like that. And I did that for a year, came back to the States, and then 2007 happened and everything crashed. So I was out of work for about a good year. And I ended up working for the Georgia Department of Correction for 2.5 years, which was a humbling experience. I mean, it definitely made me appreciate where I came from. And after 2.5 years, I ended up getting a position with the federal government, which is I'm currently working with now. I am if anybody familiar with the grade system for federal government, I'm a GS-12. And I'm positioning myself to lead that job in about a year or 2.
So you thinking about going full time? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. That was the plan from the start, man. Once I learned the resale game and figure out I knew what I was doing, that was the plan, is to put myself in a position in 2 to 3 years and go full time.
Okay, cool. So I want to ask you a few questions because I'm trying to get caught up with everything. So when you was in the Army, what was your job in the military? I'm just curious. So were you like give me some the declassified version, bro? You gotta we're trying to get it together, bro. What's going on with
now? In the green room, that's what I should have said, maybe, because my position in the military, I worked in if I don't know if people know what top secret SCI mean, but you know, I worked in a skiff, and a lot of stuff that I did and know, I can't talk about it until I'm 70 years old because I signed a NDA.
Okay,
So,
cool.
so a lot of that stuff, you know, I don't. If I try to tell you exactly, I'll be going too far in the weeds with it.
Okay, that's cool. I was just curious if you had a job. Like some people have, maybe they were a mechanic or maybe they was, riding tanks. Like I was just curious if there was a specific job title that you had when you was in there.
If there's anybody out there that served in the military, I worked in the two shop. So if you know what the two shop is, then you know pretty much kind of what I did. I mean, I worked at the command level in the two shop, not
cool.
Not the company level. I was in the command level. So, you know, we.
Okay, cool. I was just curious. I was just wondering if you had any stories because I was like 20 years is a long time.
I do
so
have
I was like,
some stories, man, but I mean they're gonna be for my grandkids and stuff. I mean, I just
okay, cool.
I don't want
that's
nobody
cool.
knocking on my door, man.
Okay, but that's cool. I was just curious. I'm not trying to push your buttons, bro. I was just trying to make conversation. That's it.
Right.
So,
well, like
like
I said earlier, man, I worked at the Central Command down in Tampa, Florida. That's like the command that control all the military forces that goes over into the any war zone in the Middle East. So that was one of the commands that I worked for 8 years when I was stationed down in Tampa. So I know Tampa well. I know St. Petersburg, Clearwaters, Sarasota, all that area, you know, Lakeland. I've been all through that area, man, when I was there.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just want to catch some people in the chat real quick. Yeah, Wendy says hi, eBay Addicts. Hey, Wendy, and she said thank you for your service. We got OBX Picker here, and Bearded Veteran says I had a Secret Service clearance myself. Fun stuff. He said, what was your MOS? I don't. What does that mean? What is your MOS?
35B.
Okay, cool. So, when you got out of the military, you said you was still serving. You was working for a company overseas. How was that when you were working overseas? How did that go? Was it?
It was great.
Was it like a culture shock, or how did that go? Go ahead.
No, I basically, because of what I did in the military, I got to visit a lot of those countries that wasn't directly impacted by the war. So when I found that particular position, I was like elated to get the job there because I knew that particular country was like one of the richest countries in the Middle East compared to Saudi Arabia. So when I got there, I mean, the company that I worked for out of Virginia, they gave me everything: cell phone, SUV, gas car, apartment. I mean, they pretty much gave me everything I need. I made $3,500 every 2 weeks. You know, with money that I was just sending straight to the bank because I didn't need it. I was retired already from the military, so it was great, man. Only thing I could say is, you know, to be there and see people walking around in a Muslim type country where, you know, they're fully covered, the women are fully covered, and the men, you know, you like, you know that they supposed to be friendly, but in your mind you're thinking all the time that, you know, they could be, you know, a terrorist or whatever. You know, you on edge everywhere you went. But the thing was, it was like being in a paradise, man. I mean, they was like right there on the peninsula, and I mean, it was just nice, man. It was a nice place to be for a year. And if my son, if I did have a newborn son at the time, I probably would have stayed there another 2 years. But, you know, everything happened for a reason.
Right. So you was working overseas, then you came back to the stateside, and then what kind of convinced you to like want to work in a prison? Because you was working in like maximum security. I just want to know how that happened, bro.
Well, I can tell you, man, it definitely wasn't by choice. It was by necessity. I mean, I had been home for a year with no work. I was living off the money that I made from overseas, and I was living off of my retirement, basically using my retirement to pay my mortgage and my utilities. And then I was using my money that I accumulated from overseas to kind of, just stay afloat. So one day I went to my wife and I, well, she was my fiance at the time, went to IHOP, ran into one of my old sergeant majors, and he was like, "Hey, what you doing for yourself?" And I was like, "Sergeant major, I'm trying to find a job." And he was like, "I got a neighbor that worked for Georgia Department of Correction as a recruiter. I'll throw your name out there, and they'll give you a call and see if you can go work for them." He's like, "It ain't the best, but it's better than zero." And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." So basically, they hooked me up. They put me in a transition center, which, this is where the inmates come when they getting ready to leave the prison. So they getting out into the economy, finding jobs to work until they actually released from prison. So I had a cush job for about 6 months. And then the warden from the maximum security was like, "Hey, we need officers to come down and work at high max." And they gave you an option. Either you take the job or you leave. So basically, what they was doing was going around all the prisons trying to find the biggest, intimidating looking security officers and then moving them down to high max. I would tell you, I was miserable. I was definitely miserable, but at the same time, I was like, it's nothing worse than war. And when I went down there, it was like, it took me a couple of days to get used to the culture of being in that high max, hearing all that noise and people threatening to kill you every day and all that kind of stuff. But I said probably after a couple of days, 5 days or so, I kind of settled in. And, most of the inmates thought that because of how I carried myself, a military baron and stuff, how I carried myself, most of the inmates thought I was put there as an implant to catch other officers, personal dealings and all that other stuff. But that was definitely not the case. But I couldn't wait to get up out of there. I thank God that I got the blessing to get up out of that place in like 2.5 years of working for Georgia Department of Corrections. I mean, I appreciate them for giving me the job, but when I got that job in federal government, man, I was 100 miles and running, man.
Hey guys, we're live with Buffalo Picker. So if you're just running a little bit late, he was just telling us a story about how he was working as a maximum security prison. So we were just getting into it. I'm going to catch up with some people in the chat. So I'm going to thank you guys for hanging out with me. We got OBX Picker here. We got Melina Campbell says, "I was in the Army and worked in SCFI. I know exactly what he's talking about. I was 72G.
No, she worked in the skiff. That's called a skiff.
Okay, cool. And then Bearded Veteran says he went to Dubai, says it was crazy. There was taxis that was brand new Mercedes.
Right.
And Campbell says I did 2 tours in Turkey. And so they said, thank you for your service. And Emily Conway is here. So he said, hit the like button, though. I appreciate you guys. So now talk to me a little bit about what happened, man. So you was working in the maximum security. Then all of a sudden you got this government job. And because I watched your interview with Two Dudes Picking the other day, and I was just kind of curious. So how did that transition go from working in maximum security to prison into working for this government job? And when you first got started there, you was trying to rank up because the guy came to you and said, "Hey, if you want to get promoted, this is what you got to do."
Yeah.
So tell us what happened, Buffalo. Go ahead.
You taking notes, right?
I got to. I'm having my guest on. I got to keep an eye on him, right? Go ahead, so, Buffalo. Go ahead.
So the transition wasn't hard at all. Leaving from the the prison system, going to the federal government to basically, when I went to the federal government, I pretty much was hired to do what I did in the military. So it was an easy transition for me. Matter of fact, I think all the military guys that got the job, we was overqualified for that position. But we took it because we knew that was a step to get through the door to get into the federal government. And basically, when we got in there, all our potential the potential that we had, it was being suppressed because we couldn't fully do everything that we was trained to do. So we knew that either we had to leave that position or put ourselves in a better position to market ourselves to get promoted. So the supervisor came to us one day and was like, hey, you know, the bridge is out. You know, if you want to get promoted, you may want to look at getting a position somewhere else, or go ahead and go back to school and finish your degree. So, you know, I took the latter. I went back to school to finish my degree. And in the midst of finishing my degree, I got promoted, which, you know, the supervisor told me it wasn't a chance to get promoted without the degree, which was Forrest, because we ended up getting promoted. I think I was probably 6 months out from finishing my degree, and I got promoted. And at the time, Steve Harvey was the spokesperson for the university that I went to. And he came in and he talked about having several streams of income. And it's just as if he was talking to me, because as he was making that speech, I was sitting there just counting, like, you know, how many streams of income I have currently right now and what I can do to get more. Because I knew that once I got the promotion with this particular job, that I was going to stay there for a while. Matter of fact, my mindset was to stay there until I'm eligible to retire, you know, full benefits. But once I discovered, after listening to Steve Harvey, I went home and I started going through YouTube. I was like, man, it's something I could be doing to earn another paycheck. And I know I didn't want to do Uber driving and all that stuff. Not saying that nothing wrong with it. I just didn't want to do it, especially here in Atlanta, because there's some crazy stuff been happening with that. And so I ran into this guy, Reezy Resellers, and I started watching his video. I just gravitated to his videos, and I watched his videos, and I watched his videos. And then one day I went out and I tried the techniques that he was saying that he was doing, and I picked up an item, I scanned it. I think that particular item was somewhere between $8 and $10, and the return on it was about $40. So I was like, oh, okay. So I went back to the house and I sat on the fence for about 3 months. I went back to the house and I watched. That's when I found Rise and Grind Picker. I found his videos, and through his videos, I found Bearded Picker. And I watched these guys, and what I determined was all three of these guys were saying the same thing. It was almost as if I was sitting down listening to three people speak the same language, you know, the same way. And from that point, I got off the fence, man. I got off the fence. I went, like, jumped into 12 feet, not knowing how to swim. I got my eBay store and built it up, put the banner on it, everything. And then at that time, Toys R Us was going out of business, and I had plenty of money at that time. So I went to Toys R Us. I left out of Toys R Us one day with 7 carts of toys.
7 carts.
7 carts.
Man. Right. Yeah. So you was, when you said you was going in, you was going in,
hey,
bro. You went right. Go ahead. So
it was like I had the product, but the product wasn't moving as fast as I thought it was going to move, because I didn't understand the difference between eBay and Amazon at the time. I mean, I was trying to learn both, but I was only in eBay. And what I had discovered with eBay is that, you know, eBay, yeah, you can sell new items on eBay, but they're not going to sell like in volumes like you can do on Amazon. So basically, I did pretty good, though. I sold on eBay for my first 3 months, 3.5 months. I sold on eBay, and this basically was a game changer for me. Was I received a letter? I think it was like January the 4th or 5th or something like that from eBay, saying that congratulations, you was in the top 10 percentile for selling Barbies. And I was like, oh, okay, I might know what I'm doing here. So from that point there, and just like I was learning from Rise and Grind and Reezy Resell, was that they all the guys recommend start with eBay, learn the resale game, then, you know, graduate over to Amazon. And that's what I did. I followed that blueprint to the T. And in January, around January 9th or 10th, I started with Amazon. And once I got into Amazon, I really didn't even look back to eBay for probably a good 8 to 9 months. I was just neglecting my eBay store. But once I fully understood how Amazon run, I then had to go back and get my eBay store up, because I discovered is that whether you sell it on eBay or Amazon, both monies are good. It's just that on Amazon, because you can move more volume, your income is going to be greater than it is on eBay. And that's what, for me, I don't know for everybody else, but for me, I mean, I have made a lot of money on Amazon compared to eBay, but I have put more work in with Amazon.
Right. You know what they say. Which side is the grass greener? On which side is the grass greener? It's where you water it, right? So wherever you put in the work in, wherever you water in the grass, that's where it's going to be greener, right?
Right.
So you now you're into reselling. I want to catch up some people in the chat. I missed some people. We had Glass City Pickers is here. I appreciate you coming by and hanging out. And I missed I missed the question. Wendy was asking you a question. Says, "What's your favorite thing to source, and what state are you in?" So you said that you're in Georgia, right, near Atlanta?
Right. I'm in the suburbs of Atlanta, a city called Fayetteville.
Okay.
And the main thing, I mean, I don't have a main thing that I source, but I normally my thing is toys. If you follow my channel, or just like follow me, you notice most of the stuff that I post is toys. So I had to kind of change my game in March, because Amazon had started restricting toys. So I started selling other things as FBM, because I really hadn't touched FBM since I was selling for 2.5 years on Amazon. But once I discovered that you can make just the amount of money shipping that stuff off yourself, I started selling FBM too. So now, and like I said earlier, things happen for a reason, because if it weren't for the pandemic, I would have never went to FBM. Not at this time. I probably went maybe years down the road, but I'm glad to a certain extent on the business side that I was able to get into FBM. Not glad because of the pandemic, because definitely don't want that, but I'm glad because of the business side that I was able to jump over into FBM. And now, right at this moment, I'm doing FBM in FBA.
Okay, cool. So I got a couple of things real quick. One thing I want to talk about is you said when you was going to school and the guy was talking about multiple streams of income, something just clicked in your head and you was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I don't know if I'm going to do this reselling game, but I'm going to come up with something. Because at that time, you still had your pension from the military, you had your job, and you was going to school, but that was, you know what I'm saying, that you didn't have everything there together yet. But now you got your YouTube channel monetized, you got your job, you got your pension, and then you got Amazon and you got eBay. So now you're starting to pick up some steam.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to talk. I watched one of your videos last night, and you talked about speaking things into existence. You want to talk a little bit about that? Because I told you I did my homework for my guests come on the show, and so when you're on Amazon, guys, in case you don't know, in certain categories you're going to be gated in certain categories. So my man Buffalo Picker, he was outsourcing getting Legos, but the problem was when he couldn't ship them into Amazon because at the time he was gated. But he just went out on faith and went out onto a limb and was like, I'm gonna go ahead and buy these Legos anyways. Even though you were gated and you couldn't ship them in at that moment, you're like, I know somewhere down the road this is gonna pay off. So talk a little bit about how you were speaking something into existence and said, this is gonna come to pass. I'm gonna make it come to pass. Talk a little bit about that, Buffalo. Go ahead.
I learned that from my grandmother, man, is that she's always talked about, speaking things into existence. You don't know how you're going to get it, but you're going to get it. And long as you keep that attitude and keep the negativity away, things will work out. Because her thing is that, and I'm not trying to get religion on anybody, but her thing is that God work on God's time, not your time. But if you put your requests out there and be sincere and know that it's going to come back non-voided, you're going to get what you're asking for. So that's the mindset. That's really the mindset I used when I got into reselling, period, man. I really after watching those guys' videos, and granted, those guys are good teachers. They got some good information out there, but I still jumped out on a leap of faith, man, because I was like, I didn't fully understand reselling. I mean, you can sit down and, in theory, listen to people tell you something to do all day, but until you get out there and do it, make it practical, you still ain't gonna understand it. So that's where I was when I jumped out there. Everything was in theory, sounded good, but once I started going out there and putting them boots on the ground and making it work, then that's where things come to life. But yeah, man, I just always said that, and I tried to show examples in my videos of me saying that I'm gonna get ungated in Lego, way back before I even got ungated in it, and it happened. So, but yeah, even just like with YouTube, I had set on my board that by July I was gonna be monetized. I started YouTube in January of this year. By June of this year, I was monetized with over 1,000 subscribers and over 4,000 watch hours. And that didn't come, by chance. I mean, I had people in the community that was looking out for me. Nana Tank, I give her props. I give Glad City Pickers props. I mean, a lot of people in the community looked out for me to say that, hey, this guy's putting out good content. Let's help him get monetized. And that's what the community did.
Right, but I'm saying you put the work in and you said, this is what I want to do. This is my goal.
Right.
And I'm going to keep pushing and shoving until it happens.
Yep.
You didn't say, okay, it didn't happen the first 2-3 weeks, so I'm just going to give up. You just got to keep pushing and pushing and pushing till you get to where you want to be. That's what I'm saying. So
right.
you leaving that part out, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying, in this game right here, man, and I talked about it in one of my videos as well, is you got to be persistent in this business. You cannot run into a roadblock and say it's over. You're going to run into a lot of roadblocks. You're not going to always get the deal you want. You're not going to always go in the store and win. All that stuff come with reselling. Even though, we as resellers try to show you all the good side of reselling, it's bad side that come with it too. But that's life. You're going to have good and bad. It rain fall on the just and the unjust. That's just life. But with this game right here, the resale game, and for some people, when I say game, I'm meaning business. This resale business, I mean, you can make it a business or you can keep it a side hustle. But like I said, on numerous times too, is that the United States government is going to make you determine whether or not it's a side hustle or business eventually, because they're going to come on their part of the tax. So that's why I always tell people, if you're going to get into this business, go ahead and try to legitimize and make it a business. And if you feel like that, I'm running into shortfalls, go find the answer. It's a lot of places you can find the answer. Don't give up. Because you didn't get that deal that you thought the store had a 50% off, but by the time you got there, it went back to regular price. Hey, hold your money, because that 50% will be somewhere else. Don't just quit. Don't say, well, it ain't working for me. It ain't working for you because you probably ain't putting in the work you need to put into it.
Right.
This business, you got to put some work in.
Yeah, sometimes when you go outsourcing, I mean, sometimes I'll go hit up 10 places one day. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
You may only find a honey hole at one spot, but it was the 9th or the 10th place that you went to. It wasn't
right.
like that you just pulled the lever in the first place you went to, they cashed you out. You had to go hunting for it. So
right.
I want to catch some guys in the chat. We got Fundamentals of Side Hustling. Thanks for coming by today, bro. I appreciate you. We got Callie Picker in the house. We got Emily Conway, says keep your head down and stay humble and thankful and grind away. And we got Glass City Picker in the house. So thank you guys for coming by. So I got to talk to you about we was talking about this before the show started, bro. You got to tell me how this happened, because I don't know if y'all follow Buffalo Picker, but he was out hunting in the clearance section for Walmart, right? He was looking for Legos. So he walks in this aisle, and keep in mind, when he goes down this clearance aisle at Walmart, the stuff's already marked down on clearance, right? So he goes up and talks to the Walmart manager and says, hey, I need to get these I need to get these Legos 50% off. Now it's 50% off on top of there was already 50% off on the clearance. Right. So you end up getting them like 75, 80% off. So tell everybody about your game, how that works, because I one time I went to the clearance at Walmart and was like, hey, I want to buy this one video game. It was marked 40, ended up getting it for 20. But I didn't get like a whole hour's worth of merchandise like you did, bro. So tell us the story. Tell us how that happened, man. I mean, go ahead, Buffalo.
And in the video, I did try to make it, a little humorous when I put the little dog up there said, wait, what? Because when you go into these stores, what you got to keep in mind is that you're trying to go in the store to win. Although you're not going to win every time you go into a store, just like eBay Addicts just said, you're not going to win every time you go in the store. But when you do go in the store, your attitude is to win. So when I'm trying to do a deal, especially in the big box stores, I always go to the store manager. I don't go to nobody else. I don't talk to associates. I don't talk to their assistant managers. I talk to the store manager, because the store manager is the person that have the power to give you the price, discounted. So when I went into Walmart, and this particular Walmart that we talking about, I went into Walmart. I already checked the clearance. I see all these Legos in there. So I go to the manager. And I was like, hey, I've been buying Legos in the last 5 stores. I constantly buy at your stores. I'm a reseller. The key is telling these people what you do. You are not the only reseller that go in these stores. Tell them what you do. So I told the manager I'm a reseller, and the first thing manager's response was, yeah, I got a few of those that come through here. I said, okay, so this is what I need to know is you got all these Legos over there in the aisle, and they're a little slight higher, which they wouldn't. I made it up. I'm being straight up. I made it up. I like they running a little bit higher than the regular stores that I have been buying these from the last couple of days. So that's the story that I made to go with, my process of trying to get these Legos. So she was like, well, let's walk over here and see what you're talking about. So we get over into the clearance area. She look around. She look at about 2 or 3 Legos, and she was like, so you gonna buy them all? And of course, the answer is always, yeah, I'm gonna buy them all, even though you're not gonna buy them all, but at least try to get half of them. So I said, yeah, I'm gonna buy them all. She was like, okay, well, is that if they running a little, if I got them running a little bit higher, it's probably because they've been sitting here for a while. So yeah, just take 50% off of the price that's listed right now. Man, I'm telling you, I was so happy. I had to hold it in, and as soon as she turned that corner, I dashed to the front, got 2 carts, came back, and just tried to stuff them, with many Legos I could fit in there. So yeah, I mean, you definitely got to ask for what you want. Don't go in the stores assuming that you got to pay. Especially in clearance. I'm not talking about regular aisles, but especially in clearance. When that stuff being marked down, you got to go and talk to the people that can make a decision to give you the price you're looking for.
Right. So you were saying in your video that you got to get there early in the morning, because these managers, they don't stick around and after you said they're leaving by like noon, right?
Right.
So you got to get there early in the morning. You got to track down, and he said, don't fool with the assistant manager, the associate, go straight to the head guy in charge. Tell them what the deal is. Say, look, dude, I'm a reseller. I'm looking at buying this merchandise, and you just tell them what do you tell them to get them to help them lower the price a little bit? You just say, hey, this is what I want to pay. Do you say I need 50% off?
Basically, what I try to do is paint a picture that I have already purchased those at this price at your other stores. They don't know, because every Walmart is different. All the managers run their markdowns differently. But if you can go in there, and I'm not, I can tell you, what I do, but it's a special thing that I do to be able to approach the manager, and I don't really want to give that out on this.
That's cool, but I just want to make sure that if someone don't come up to the manager and have an attitude like, hey, you owe me something, you want to come up to them. You want to come up to them cool and be like, hey, man, how you doing? You introduce yourself, let them know what you're a reseller, and say, hey, I've been getting these items at XYZ price at the other stores, and this is what I'm looking to do, and see if they can work with you. So it is possible because
you got to separate yourself when you go in those stores and you talk to the manager. You got to understand for as Walmart or Target or any of those big box stores concerned, the manager is the face of that particular building that you are in, that particular store. That manager is the face for that company. So when you go in there, you got to get you a business card. Separate yourself from other people. You know, go in there like you're a business person as well. Say, hey, you don't mind if I can give you one of my business cards, either before or after the transaction. But you want to get that business card to that manager because you want to build a rapport with that manager that when you gone, if you made an impression on that manager may have something else that they're going to mark down, and they'll pick up the card and call you. So
right, and the cool
relationship with the manager as well. You know, it's when you go into these stores, and I mean, you got to make a decision on your own whether or not you're going to build a story like I do, or you just going to be straight up. Now, I did both. I've been straight up and walk out the store with an L, and I've been in those stores and build up the story. When I say build up the story, meaning that I got to tell them about something believable where I'm going to be able to get the deal that I want and leave the store. And I have gotten my deal more times by building up a story than just going in there just saying, hey, I definitely would like to get those Legos right there 50% off. You know, can you help me out? Most of the time, they're going to tell you, no, we ain't doing that. It's already marked down. But if you go in there with a believable story, as if you've been going around to all the stores and collecting these, then they probably more, you know, in tune to get on board. And on top of that, you dropping a business card on. So that letting them know that, hey, this person right here may be about business.
Right. Well, I'm just bringing it up because if you're going to be going to that Walmart or that particular store again and again and again, you're going to see this manager and see this person again. So what I'm saying is you don't want to come at them one good time and say, hey, give me 50% off of that. If you want to build up a rapport and build a relationship, so when you see this person again and again and again, you know, they can work out a deal with you in the future. And I mean, so I'm just go ahead.
Stores, even if I don't go in there and get a deal. Like, just say, for instance, I just want to go walk around the store, see what they have. If I see the manager, I'm going to talk to the manager. It may not be about a deal. I'm just going to go speak to him and let him know that, hey, I was in your store. I appreciate what you did for me last week or 2 weeks ago or whatever.
Right. Well, I'm just saying because some people, like for me, I didn't know for a long, long time. I thought that whatever the price was on the aisle, that's what the price was. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know you could go to the manager and be like, hey, I found a stack of these video games in clearance. I'm going to buy all of them. And then, you know, they can work out a price with you. I didn't know you could do that. I thought that whatever the price was is what it was.
Like I said, that tip that I gave you in the green room, you use that to your advantage, you'll get what you want.
Okay, I got you. I appreciate you because when I saw your video the other day, I was like, man, Buffalo Picker, he's a hustler for real, bro. Like when you said I bought all these Legos, I got the whole aisle, and I got 50% off the clearance price. I was like, bro, we gotta get Buffalo Picker on the show, man, because he's got some tricks up his sleeve, bro. That he's been doing this for a minute, man.
You gotta definitely try to, you know, recreate yourself and try to position yourself to do something differently than everybody else because, you know, everybody got the blueprint. Everybody got the resale blueprint, but it's what you do a little bit differently than everybody else that sets yourself apart. And yeah, I learned that from Reezy Resales. And I don't know how many people in the audience know that guy, but I know before he got Hollywood, he used to put out some great content, you know, and that stuff was like real deal. I tested his stuff. The information that he was putting out there, and that stuff was real deal. Now, if that information's still out there, I don't know because I haven't been to his YouTube in a couple of years. But I know when I first got started, he was putting out some excellent information, and the information was free.
Right, cool. I'm going to catch some people in the chat. Fundamentals of Side Hustling said, those are just slight lies, but they are okay. And Glass City Picker says, winner, chicken dinners. So I'm with you on that. They said network, and Fundamentals of Side Hustling says, fabricating the truth, don't hurt in that situation. Get that stuff for pennies on the dollar. There you go. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Right. Yep. So I just want to ask you some questions a little bit about Amazon, because I have 2 eBay stores, but I'm not on Amazon. So right now, if someone was interested in starting on Amazon, could you give us some tips or pointers to get started on Amazon, and tell us a little bit about how that program works? Because when I watched your interview the other day, you said that when you go on Amazon, you got to prove yourself. They don't care what you did on another platform. You starting at zero, and you got to work your way up. So tell us a little bit about how your journey has been on Amazon. Go ahead, Buffalo.
Yeah. So if you new on Amazon, what you have to understand, or you new or thinking about coming on Amazon, what you have to understand first off is that those are Amazon customers, not yours. And Amazon are going to let you know that from the get-go. Once they give you that little thank you for joining, the $39.99, and send you a little congratulations letter, the next thing you're going to receive is that, hey, these are Amazon customers. This is how you're supposed to carry yourself. So Amazon, one thing about Amazon is that that brand is very recognizable. And it's through the fact that they have vetted most of all the third-party resellers to understand that, hey, we don't play the counterfeit game. You come over here with this, your account going to automatically get closed. We're going to hold your money. When you first come in that reseller, we're going to hold your money to make sure that we ain't having counterfeit returns before you even get one paycheck from us. So they got an ironclad system to protect their brand. So you have to understand, as a third-party seller, that's exactly what you are. You are a third-party seller selling on the Amazon platform. Once you can gravitate and grasp that, then you setting yourself up for success. But if you think you're going to come in there and beat their system or try to stress their system, then you're going to lose. But for people that don't think like that and thinking that, hey, I want to do it the right way and be a successful reseller, only thing I can tell you is Amazon is going to test you to see if you really want to be a reseller on their platform. They're not going to give you much in the beginning. You're going to have to go out and search. They're going to give you that app, that seller's app, and you're going to have to put it to use. When I first started selling with Amazon, I think in one day, I went out to a store. I had the day off from my regular job. I went out to the store, and I scanned probably about 2,000 items before I found 2 or 3 items that I could sell. So it's some work. It's some work. Now I can tell you too that a lot of people out. If you go to watch the YouTube videos, people are saying that, hey, you can get ungated in this by getting an invoice. You get submit for invoice and you can get ungated. That is partially true. But if your performance is not good, Amazon still will deny your invoice. You go out and spend all that money to get an invoice, and then you submit it to Amazon and they reject it because the performance ain't no good. So it's no easy workaround to get successful in Amazon. You got to do the work.
Yeah, I would think you said that Amazon is a big volume game, and tell us a little bit about what metrics Amazon's looking at. Because if you're a new seller on their platform, what kind of metrics are they looking at when you first walking in the door? Go ahead.
So they got what they call the IPI score. Your IPI score, it look at your inventory. It look at how fast your inventory is moving. It look at how well you are moving items that are like have issues. And it's one more. It's 4 items that they look at, and I can't remember all that off the top of my head. But in their dashboard, you can just go to IPI score, and then it'll show you all the 4 categories that they're grading you on. In those areas, if you have 3 in the green and 1 in the red, you probably gonna be good. But for me, for instance, see, Amazon changed the game in June. When Amazon used to be, if you got a 400 IPI score, your storage limit is unlimited. But they changed the game to 500 in June. So right after the pandemic, they opened back FBA, and then they're like, oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna change the IPI score from 500. I mean, from 400 to 500. So everybody that was 400 or 450 or 489, you drop down to 400. You drop down to 400, and I mean, you was below 500. So now your unlimited storage space that you normally work your butt for to have for a Q4 is now gone. So the IPI score is big, but I think right now, just like myself and what is his name? I can't think of the guy's name, but we was talking and we discovered that we believe Amazon pretty much came up with a forest on their IPI score because they was having logistical problems, with all the fulfillment centers. So, but nevertheless, I still have a lot of space that I can ship stuff, and I've been shipping since June. I've been shipping like a lot since June, so. But yeah,
okay, cool.
The IPI score can make or break you, though.
Okay, cool. I'm going to catch a question in the chat. Dragon Value says, how does selling used products on Amazon work? So explain how that whole process works. Go ahead.
Every time I'm on an interview, somebody asks that question. I mean, let me say this and then I answer the question. You can sell used goods on Amazon, but Amazon customers is used to new goods. When you're going to sell something on Amazon, I just grabbed this for instance. This is what Amazon looking for. They're looking for pristine condition items. Now, you can get away with selling like used electronics on Amazon, but Amazon ain't the place you really want to do used goods. I mean, not saying you can't. If that's what you want to do, you want to come in and sell used electronics. I mean, it is a market for that. Used books, used DVDs, video games. It's a market for it. But those customers, the majority of those people that paying that prime rate for that prime shipping, they want new stuff. So only thing I have sold used on Amazon is books, nothing else.
Okay, so can you talk to me a little bit about the difference between eBay and Amazon? Which platform do you like better? And if someone's like, man, I'm already making money on eBay, why do I need to go to Amazon? If someone's like on the fence, they're like, yeah, is there really any money in it? I'm good on eBay. I'm good where I'm at. Go ahead, talk to me about that, bro.
So basically, I personally prefer Amazon because of volume. On Amazon, I can take 100 of these, send it into Amazon, and Amazon will take that 100 items and send it to 100 different customers' home address or business address. So I prefer Amazon. I think the opportunity, and I look and I mentioned this on the Two Dudes Picking show, is that you got to look at the analytics when you're dealing with Amazon, or you comparing the two platforms. Amazon. This year alone, Amazon had over 2 billion people around the world to browse their website, whereas eBay had 200 and something million. So you compare 2 billion to 200 something million people bringing traffic to your website. Who you think gonna get the most sales? So when you talking about volume and you talking about traffic flow, you gotta also incorporate the money with those two. So, of course, Amazon is going to accumulate more money than eBay. Now, if you are eBay selling, you making good money, and you like the system with eBay, then I would say stay where you are. Don't even worry about Amazon, because when you cross over to Amazon, it's a whole different ball game because of the rules. Now, if you're going to do Amazon FBM, then you pretty much really ain't doing nothing differently than what you're doing on Amazon, on eBay. You going out, purchase the item, you list it. When somebody buy it, you pack it up and ship it to them. Same thing you'll do with FBM on Amazon. No different. But when you talk about when you talk about fulfilled by Amazon, when you got to ship it out to the fulfillment center, that's when you're talking about making money. Because you can take, well, right now, for the people that got the limit on them, you can only ship in 200 items of one item. So if that one item that I just showed you, I can only ship in 200. and I have to monitor those sales in order to ship in additional ones. So, but if you got unlimited, you can ship as many as you want.
Okay, cool. And so what's the process? So I went to Walmart, I bought some items on clearance, and I want to sell it on Amazon. So how do I go about doing that? Because I heard you got to put stickers over the barcodes. You got to prep it. Like it's a little bit different than eBay. So can you talk a little bit about how that process is? Like you got to weigh the boxes, you got to ship them. There's a little bit of work involved. Go ahead.
Yeah. Now there's some work in it. If you're gonna do FBM, you got to put that sticker on it because they got to identify that that's your product. Now you don't have to put that sticker on it. You can put them. You can take. And I just try to give an example. You can take 100 of these and just throw them in the box. Put your shipping label on it, send it to Amazon FBM. You don't have to put no sticker on it over the barcode. And what Amazon going to do is they're going to charge you a premium to put those stickers on for you. Some people do that now. I don't do that. I rather put my own stickers on, but some people do box their stuff up and ship it to Amazon. So don't get caught up with that. Oh, now I got to put a label on this and then I got to box it up and ship it to Amazon. No, you don't have to put a label on it. What you can do is just put them all in a box, get the weight, get the shipping label, put the shipping label on the box, and ship it off to Amazon. And then once it get there and they scan the shipping label and determine that this is your item, then they will put the sticker on here and charge you a rate for it. So now if you're going to do FBM, it's no different than what you're going to do for eBay. You go in the store, you buy this item from Walmart, you bring it home, you list it, somebody buy it, you print out the shipping label, and you ship it to them. No difference.
Okay, cool. Now, but before we let you go, you got to give us some tips, some advice. If somebody is because I know you said that you've been doing this game for a little bit, and you thinking about putting the deuces in, putting the 2 weeks notice in, and quitting your job to be a full-time reseller. Now, if somebody is like that, maybe they just getting started, or maybe they're part-time and they're thinking about going to full-time. Give us your 3 or 4 good tips that would help somebody out for reselling. Go ahead.
So one tip is only buy what you can afford. Don't buy stuff and you can't afford it. Do your due diligence. When you're going out there and you trying to determine whether or not this is an item that you can buy to flip, do your due diligence to understand that, okay, is the market going to be flooded when I buy this? Is it something that I can flip in a matter of 2 weeks or a month? Those are the type of things that you have to go in and do your work on, not just look at the numbers. You can go on eBay and see what sold in the last 6 months, but then if you got something that you got 500 sellers or 200 sellers on that particular item, you might be sitting on it for a while unless you're going to drive the price down. And it's no different from Amazon. The same ideal is that you want to look at, with Amazon, you want to look at the ranks. You want to make sure that you don't have 100 or 200 sellers on that item. And lastly, like I mentioned first, is you want to make sure you can buy what you can afford. You don't want to buy and then take a little of your rent money to help pay for your products, because that product may sit for a while if you didn't do your due diligence. So just remember, in this game, there's no guarantees when you go out and buy stuff. But at the same time, if you do your due diligence, look at those numbers, use those free tools that's out there to help you make an informed decision, you can do well in this game.
Okay, cool. Now, I wanted to ask you a question. You talk a little bit about the sales rank on Amazon. When someone's looking at a product, is the sales rank on Amazon is a little bit different than eBay. And also, when you talk about there's some sellers that tank the product, or maybe Amazon is on a listing and some people get nervous and they're like, well, crap, I got to lower my price. I'm with you when you saying, hey, I'm just going to hold firm. And when everybody else sells out, then they're going to come to me and pay my full asking price. Because right. Some people look at sold comps and they're like, okay, well, dude sold this item for $5 with free shipping, so I got to do the same thing. And I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Just wait it out. You stay up here. This is your price. Everybody else sells out. And then guess what? Now they got to come to you. Talk a little bit about that. Go ahead, Buffalo.
That's what I mean. That, you don't want to buy something that you can't afford. You know, if you buy something and you can't afford to sit on it for 30 days or maybe 2 months, you don't need to buy it. Because just because you buy it and you look at the sales comps or you look at the ranking on Amazon and you say, hey, on Amazon, the ranking is good. On eBay, the sales comps is good. One of these platforms I'm going to sell on. I mean, that may be true. One of those platforms you're probably going to sell it on, but that don't mean they're going to sell right away. So you don't want to go in and find something that you say, oh, it got a good deal on it. I'm going to spend $500 on it. And then you look around a month and a half later, you still sitting on that 500. You know, how many ever you bought. So you definitely want to pay attention to that kind of stuff. And then when you see people tanking the prices and stuff, you have to understand that when you bought that item and you calculated what your return on investment going to be, you may look at, okay, well, I have a $2 or $3 wiggling room here before I hit break even. Now, did you spend your time and energy to break even, or you spent your time and energy to make a return on investment? That's the kind of stuff you got to look at. And the last thing you got to look at as well is, I may have bought that item cheaper than you bought it. I may have got it liquidation. You never know. Each item I got probably cost me 75 cents, whereas for you, it costs you $5.75. So you can't look at the next man and say, oh, well, they tanking. Let me tank a little bit too so I can stay in the game. It don't work like that.
Yeah, I was just saying that because I think sometimes people panic and they're like, I got to make a sale. I got to make a sale. I got to make a sale. So then they start marketing and tanking the price just so they make a sale. But I'm just like, hold on. If you just hold your ground and say, okay, I got this listed at $19.99 when these other guys sell out, you know, now I'm going to get my full asking price. So that's what I'm saying is don't panic. Now, before we let you go, tell me your strategy for a fourth quarter, because we're in fourth quarter right now. Because this is where we make bank, is in fourth quarter. So tell us about your fourth quarter strategy, Buffalo. I know you got something. Go ahead.
So my fourth quarter strategy has not changed since last year, and my strategy is to buy as much product as I can and ship it to Amazon in volume. Always looking for the discount, always networking with people. And that's another key in this business is you got to network. You got to get you a group of people that you can trust and network with. So with myself and Glass City Pickers, we network a lot. I tell them what I'm finding. They tell me what they finding. And what we do is we try to collaborate and go out and buy as many of those items as possible. Now, if you don't have the cash flow, that particular business model is not going to work for you. But if you got the cash flow, you want to maximize. I'm only speaking of Amazon, not eBay. If you're eBay, I'm sorry, but Amazon is a beast. You got to continue to feed the beast, and then Q4, which is the Super Bowl for resellers, this is where you can maximize your money. But the only way you're going to be able to maximize your money is to constantly ship. So that's a strategy that I have, is to constantly ship, try to maximize as many items as I can get to Amazon all the way up until Black Friday. Now, when Black Friday comes, that's a whole nother ball game. I would have to take about another 10 minutes to talk about the Black Friday strategy.
Okay, cool. So somebody's making some sales. I want to give a shout out to some people in the chat real quick. We got Alexander Bowles. We got my buddy here, Rise and Grind Picker. He said it's hard to hold your ground all the time. 40K listings on Amazon. Price tanks 30 people on the listing, sells at 400K ranked item. We got Glass City Pickers here. We got Dragon Value Home. Regina came to hang out with us. Thank you, Regina, for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. And I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anybody. We got Louie, Lone Star Picker in the house. And then we got Fundamentals of Side Hustling. So anyways, give us your final thoughts. If someone wants to get in the game of reselling, or they're part-time and they want to go full-time, give us some of your final thoughts on how they can do that.
Well, I mean, everything started out with having goals, man. You got to set yourself some goals. And like I mentioned earlier, when I started watching rise and grind picker and bearded picker and I forgot the dude's name already. But
Breezy Resells. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so when I started watching these other resellers, that's all they talked about was preparing themselves to eventually go full time as resellers. And that's what put that thought in my head is that, you know, if I learn how to do this, this could be my business, you know. So like I said earlier, from the start, my whole goal was to get into this, learn how to do it, figure out how to make it a business. And then once I'm comfortable and know that I'm successful with what I'm doing with my business model, is to eventually go full time. So the main thing is set yourself some goals and try to meet those goals. And once you start meeting those goals, always have an end game. My end game is to start full time business, and I'm pretty much there. I'm just kind of riding the wave right now, but I'm pretty much where I need to be to go full time.
Right. So we talked about networking. I just want you to ask you one question before we let you go. How important is it to reinvest your money back into your business? Because sometimes you make some sales and they just think, oh, look at this money, I'm ready to go on a vacation. What's your thoughts on reinvesting your money back in your business? Go ahead.
So if you this the key. If you got a job, that's the only money you live off of. The money that you have set aside to invest into the business, you take that money and you keep rolling it over. Wherever it may take, whether it's supplies, whether it's goods for sale, all that money is allocated for the business. And you just constantly roll that money over. Now, if you want to take it, just say, for instance, at your job, you got a bonus. And you want to take some of that bonus money and roll it over into your business money, that's fine and good. But once you make enough money where you can say, okay, now I can put that back, you do that. But the key is do not commingle your money. Keep your money separate. And the money that you got in the business, keep rolling it over. Don't spend it for nothing, nails, haircut, go get the car clean, none of that. All that money is for goods and service.
Okay, got you. All right, well, we've been an hour on the show today. I really appreciate Buffalo Picker for hanging out with me today. So I'd like to have you come back on the show sometime and hang out. I want to thank you guys in the chat for watching, and come back tomorrow. We got my buddy Rise and Grind Picker is going to be here on the show tomorrow, 6 o'clock. I'll see you then. Bye, guys.